Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. This is Morning Joey. I'm your host, Joey Molinaro. Hope your Wednesday's off to a great start. Hope my folks in Indiana got in on that Pacers, the Indiana special, the Pacers promo on the Barstool Sportsbook app yesterday because the Pacers absolutely dominated last night. So if they win tomorrow night, that's an extra $100 in your pocket. There you go. However much you bet, there you go. Also, the Boom Baby. Hit with ease. Hit with ease. I mean, we were halfway home in the first quarter. I was watching. I couldn't believe it. I owe Doug McDermott, a handwritten thank you and maybe a basket of goodies because he hit like 4 threes in the first quarter. The Boom Baby last night, bet with Barstool exclusive on the Barstool Sportsbook app for the Pacers as a team to hit over 12 threes, more than 12 threes, and I think they had 7 or 8 at half. So they had a slow second quarter. First quarter was unbelievable. It felt like every other trip down the floor they were hitting a three-pointer. Doug McDermott, bang. Brissett, bang. I mean, McDermott just went off in the first quarter. And they slowed down the second quarter. You bring in T.J. McConnell. He's kind of running the gun and playing a lot of his mid-range game. It's so funny how much effort it looks like it takes T.J. McConnell to get it up there, man. But a lot of mid-range and a lot of fast break stuff with him. So went away from it in the second quarter. I was nervous for about the first 4 minutes of the second quarter because they weren't shooting any threes, and then I think they took one and they didn't hit it, and I was like, maybe they start hot, they get cool, and then they buried it. I think with like 2 minutes left in the third quarter, Justin Holiday hit number 13, and then right after that he hit number 14. So the Boom Baby, first ever bet with Joey, back Joey, Barstool bet with Barstool exclusive. The Boom Baby hit last night. So hope you got in on that. Hope you got in on the Indiana special on the Barstool Sportsbook app. What a day. What a day in Indiana yesterday. You had opening day at IMS, cars on track, practice happening, playing game for the Pacers. You got Pacers and Racers. The Barstool Sportsbook app opens all in the same day. I mean, just phenomenal. I mean, just what a day to be in the great state of Indiana. And, I say that often because this is my home, but also I really mean it yesterday. I mean, it was all-time stuff. All-time stuff. So the Pacers showed some life last night. That was good to see. Burpee boy number 1. I don't know if they showed as much life as the Hornets showed that they were just dead. But really, I mean, the game was never close. From McDermott's, first quarter 4 threes, and then from that point on, I mean, it was never a game. The Hornets were never in it. The Pacers dominated from the tip. And it was nice to see, it was fun being out. There's people at a bar that I was at last night and people wearing their Pacers stuff. And I was with my buddy and the Pacers were rocking it and they were burying threes and, they're running and gunning. It was a good feeling. It was like, it's May. This is cool. Happy about it. Also, it helped that, the Boom Baby was looking good. So that helped definitely. But if you haven't gotten in on the Barstool Sportsbook app, be sure to go to whatever device you're in. If you're in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Illinois, now Indiana, get in on that in the App Store, download it, get $10 for a new sign up. For my Indy 500 folks, they already have odds for the Indy 500. I'm going to come out with a back me on that. I'm working on it right now. But right now you can get Alexander Rossi plus 1,400 to win the Indy 500. I feel like he's due. So you probably want to get on that. I was just scrolling through this morning, looking at futures for the NFL. I mean, I'm just so excited, man. I've been holding it back through the last year. I enjoy gambling a lot. I enjoy it. It's a fun, I guess you could say hobby. I enjoy it responsibly, definitely. But I just haven't really publicized that because I didn't have easy access to the Barstool Sportsbook. They were in Chicago last month, so was up there. But then, they were in Indiana, so I couldn't place any bets. I didn't want to go with any competitors or anything like that. So now it's finally here. So you're probably going to be hearing a lot more about gambling from me. And that's good, I think, because we're going to have fun. Because, like I said, I bet on the Cubs last night. First to score, They dropped 2 in the 3rd inning, I think. So cash that one. It's feeling good. A lot of beginner's luck with the Barstool Sportsbook in my eyes, I think. That'll definitely tail off. But last night was a good night, and we're going to keep it rolling. From Andrew. Good morning, Andrew. My guy, Barstool Sportsbook owns the Midwest. Yes, it does. RJ, Barstool Sportsbook app, by far the best. This is coming from someone who worked for the other guys. Thank you. So take it from those dudes, not just me, who has Barstool sign my paychecks, keeps a roof over my head, right? Take it from those dudes. They know, and they use it, and they know, so you got to get in there. For those watching on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe. Hit 4,003.4.35 subscribers last night, so we're up. We're continuing to go up. But I need you to hit that subscribe and the link below. The people are asking me about this hat, and this hat is great. I love this hat, but an even better hat, you can get it in the description on YouTube, or you can go to store.barstoolsports.com, and it's the trucker, same kind of hat as this, kind of the trucker mesh hat, and it's got our Indy 500 logo on it. It's got the Barstool Indy 500 logo on it, and it is just, I can't wait. I just got mine in, or I put in for mine yesterday, and I'm going to be rocking it all the time. So got to get on that. Got to get on the tank that has the logo as well. Great Spectacle and Boozing, all at store.barstoolsports.com. Just search Indy in the search tab. Or if you're watching on YouTube after you subscribe, go to the links below, click those, and get your merch. They're going big time. Every time I click on them, there's new names from new places popping up saying that they bought them. So you need to get in on them and get on them fast, hoping that, what is today, the 19th? Don't want to make any promises, but if you get in on it today, then maybe by 500 weekend, it'll be here, so you can rock it for this year's Indy 500. So make sure you do all that. But yeah, man, Pacers moving on Thursday night. Going to be playing in Washington. Definitely going to be a tough test. Westbrook, Bradley Beal. I feel like the Pacers always kind of I feel like Washington's just a weird place for them to play, so that's kind of concerning, but. Hey, I was harsh on the Pacers 2 weeks ago, and I was harsh on them, rightfully so. Because at that point, you had a shit show going on in the locker room. You had a shit show going on the court and getting your ass beat by the Kings in the middle of, if you're trying to make the playoffs, if you're not trying to make the playoffs, you got coaching rumors about turmoil. I mean, they were just a joke. So I was harsh on them 2 weeks ago. But last night, they looked good. They were hustling around. They were showing a lot of effort on defense. They were hitting shots. They looked like they wanted to be there. So I'd give them props. I'm excited for Thursday night. If they can win on Thursday night and they get into a series, and we kind of have the rough and tough against Brooklyn or someone like that, then more power to us. That's where we play the underdog role well. We play the underdog role well. We love that role. So if we come in, steal a game or something, sure. Now, do I think that they need to have more direction? Need to have a greater picture overall, more direction? Okay, what's this looking like the next 2-3 years, next 5 years? Rather than just, this year we're putting our heads down, we're going to blue-collar gold swagger, and we're going to make the playoffs, and we're going to – yes, I think they need to get beyond that. But you know what? They played a hell of a game last night. They made me some money. Hopefully they made you some money. So, I'm going to keep riding with them, Hitting shots. They were down. I mean, you got Brogdon and Sabonis who played, which is always nice. But, Turner out, Warren out, Jeremy Lamb out. I mean, 3 guys that are going to be in your starting lineup who were in your starting lineup for whenever they were healthy. So it's just been one of those years. But, get to Thursday night, see what happens. Keep fighting, beat Washington, and then we roll. I don't want to be – I don't think it's fair. I think it's just – look, 2 weeks ago, I had to tell it. I had to be harsh on them. I had to be harsh on them. Right now, I don't have to be because they looked good last night. Who else looked good last night? The Cubs. Cubs 21-20 now, back over 500. Yeah, dude, this offense, it's amazing. The first 2 weeks, it was like, oh man, what happened? I even said on the show, I was just like, they just forgot how to hit. Like they something happened. But knock on wood, I'm drinking the morale blend right now, Dom and Ian Happ. There's something in that blend, and it looks like it. Ever since that's come out, they've totally turned things around offensively. They have a clue. They're putting the ball in play. They're situational hitting. They're hitting for power. It's great to see. This right now, I'd say, living in the moment, right now, as a Cubs fan, this is the most fun I've had watching a Cubs team since 2016. Definitely. 2017, he had the hangover. It was just like they were pulling teeth. It felt like, it was just like you took one step forward, two steps backward. 2017, 2018, had the collapse down the stretch. 2019, same thing. Last year was fun for a while, but it was just so weird because it was the quarantine shortened season, no fans anywhere. Like, it just didn't feel like a real baseball season, because it wasn't really. It wasn't like, it was real in the record books, but in terms of like everything else that you compare it to, it was not your regular baseball season. Right now, I'd say over the last month, this is the most fun that I've had watching the Cubs and being a Cubs fan since 2016. Really. Got old Chris Bryant back. Wilson Contreras is hitting again. Rizzo is playing like the captain that he is. And these role players for the Cubs, man. I mean, I'm so used to, as a Cubs fan, like either role players or guys that come in from another team that used to, for whatever reason, kill the Cubs and then they suck when they put on the Cubs uniform. Now, you got Marisnik, you got Matt Duffy, you got Jock Peterson, who's coming around. He started really cold, but now he's hot as hell at the plate. But like those three guys, Eric Sogard, I mean, it's just like it just feels like the right mesh. It feels like finally they got the right mesh again. You got your KBs and your Rizzos and your Willies and your Brian and your Baez's that are, your studs, your stars, your guys. But then you just got a whole laundry list of other dudes: Sogard, Peterson, Duffy, Marisnik when he's healthy. Even Tony Walters behind the plate. Like, you got all these dudes that are just coming in, they're contributing, they're playing hard. It's just fun to watch. It feels good, man. It feels really good. And it feels good to where it's like even a game above 500 and you feel like on top of the world, And I don't want that to mean that you lower expectations, but I just know that like 2016, 2017, 2018, there was so much expectation and so much pressure that if you weren't 15 or 20 games or 25 games over 500, then it was like a disappointment. And, a lot of people had the Cubs finishing last, fourth place in the NL Central this year, and still a long way to go. We're only 41 games, so it's not even a quarter of the way through the season, maybe a quarter of the way, 40, 80, 120, 1. Yeah, so we're like a quarter of the way through the season. And but you know what? They're riding and they're battling every day. And every single day that you watch the Cubs, you're going to come out and even if they're down 5-1, after the first 3 innings, it's like, all right, we're still in this, And I haven't felt that way since 2015, 2016 editions of this team. 2018, 2019, it felt like they were just kind of complacent, kind of dead in the water. Just they couldn't figure it out, But now it's not like that. I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way at all. This is a great point by Andrew Peterson, hitting 429 over the last week. Yep. Damn. I'm sorry, collections. That's tough right there, man. Hey, bounce back on Thursday. Bounce back tonight, But yeah, with the Cubs, dude, it's like I want these guys to stay, man. We had these video tributes to Schwarber and to Lester on the past 2 nights, and that was great and all, and I appreciated it, and it was great to look back on the memories. But not only do I not want that, I can't have that with Rizzo and Bryant and probably Javi. I need that not to happen for my mental and emotional well-being. Like, I cannot. I could watch Lester and Schwarber, the tributes there, but if that happens to Anthony Rizzo, I will not be able to watch. I won't be able to. It'll be too hard to see that man who has locked down first base and the first base line for a decade, at Wrigley Field in the pinstripes, to come out of that first base dugout in another uniform in different colors. Can't do it. Won't do it. So they need to figure something out. And see a lot of like baseball reporters talk about how, well, this is playing out perfectly for the Cubs with the way that Chris Bryant's playing. They'll be able to trade him with ease. And I'm like, I've also seen the counter argument at Twitter that I agree with. It's just like why do we get on? We develop these players and we get these guys that are homegrown, that are literally franchise changers and MVP players, and you just want to trade them away for a boatload of prospects that you won't know anything about for 8 years? Like, I get to a certain extent, like what the Cubs did when, 2011, 2012, even some of 2013, a lot of 2013, when they were just, absolutely selling farm, getting prospects, flipping over the farm system. They had direction there. That was their direction. But they did that to get to the point where you have guys like Chris Bryant on the team right now. There's unfinished business with this group. I don't care what you say. So spare me the nonsense of, it's over now and just, get what you can. No. Watch this team play. There's something there, man. And when you got guys like Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo and Javi Baez, those are stars, faces of the franchise, franchise changers. And me, I don't want to give up Chris Bryant for, a 20-year-old, fucking center fielder, 18-year-old shortstop, and two 16-year-old pitching prospects. I don't want to do that. Because Chris Bryant's playing at an MVP level right now on your team, for a team that's above 500 now, that's right in the thick of things. I don't want to do that. And I certainly don't want to do it with Anthony Rizzo either. My family named a fucking dog after him. It's real shit. That's some family ties. That's blood now. Enjoying watching the Cubs, man. I am. I wrote a blog yesterday. It's up on barstoolsports.com. Total mind blower here. So I'm a big School of Rock fan. Came out when I was in like 4th grade. So the kids were like about the same age. So it was very easy for me to be like, wow, they're the same age. That would be so cool. Like if I was in 4th grade, that'd be awesome. Like, and it's a classic movie, right? Jack Black kills it. Hilarious concept. Great music. Like it's an all-timer. And so I see yesterday that the kid who played the security guard, Frankie, the little Tony Soprano-looking motherfucker, and the backup singer, the blonde one, Martha, no, it's 9. Yes, it was 9. I was just listening to you. It's 9. And that's a magic number. That girl, they're dating now. They're the same age as me, maybe a year or two older, and now they are an item. They're a couple. They're dating. From School of Rock, when that movie came out in 2003, probably filming in 2002, and then we come all the way back, and now I think that they're not in acting, but they were like child actors doing that, obviously, in that movie and a few other things. Frankie Angelo is the guy who played him, the guy who played Frankie. He was in The Sopranos. Of course he was. And but yeah, now here we are, 2021. Those two, I think they're living out in New York or in Brooklyn. They're dating. They're in love. How crazy is that? I was like, where I come from, my sister and her husband, they're like this. Like they were in the same 1st grade class, and then obviously they didn't start like dating until late high school or something like that. Now they're married, but that's not common, but fairly common where I come from. Like it's not unheard of at all. Like if that's a story, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But I feel like two child actors who are in that industry, who didn't have a huge acting career afterwards, but they also didn't like flame out and, really struggle with like finding themselves and their identity. And then all of a sudden they're both like in medical and law and they're dating. I mean, talk about small world. And so I write this blog, and all of a sudden the kid, Angelo, I think it's Angelo Masagli, he follows me on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, damn, like I didn't say anything that bad, I don't think. Like I was just like mind blown about the relationship. And then he DMs me, and he puts up a story with the girl, with Marta, with his girlfriend, and he's like, they're acting like Tony Soprano and his wife, and they tag me. I'm like, this is insane. School of Rock, me and my buddy Jordan Reeser, we literally used to be able to, and probably still can, quote that entire movie. And here we are, and two side role people, but they were there. I mean, you remember Marta, you remember Frankie, you know, Frankie's friends with Freddie. Hey, Miss Mullins, you're the man. You know, he says that to Joan Cusack. And now here they are, and they're, you know, reading my blog. It's just insane. It's just absolutely insane. So happy for them. Hope it all goes well. You know, like they get married and have the whole cast come back. You know, maybe Jack Black, you know, preside over the wedding or something. That'd be hysterical. But they seem to be doing well, living their lives. You know, child stars in School of Rock, and now they're in love together, doing their own shit. Man, awesome. Totally wild. But I saw, look at this, Moody coming with the stats today. Yep, those are the dudes right there, man. Those are the dudes who are going to help push it over the top, get us back to you know, playoff run, NLCS type shit right there. Long season, but right now, I mean, those are the dudes who are going to help even more push it over the top. But I was watching this Pacers game last night with my buddy at a local pub, and they had pool tables there. And so we're sitting towards, like, on the window, and then the TVs are up here, and then right in the middle there's some pool tables. And we're sitting there watching the Pacers game, chatting, everything, having a good time. And, you know, in walks this couple, and they start playing pool. And now at first it's like it didn't seem too out of the ordinary because it's just, you know, younger couple, they're playing pool on Tuesday night, whatever. But then we started noticing that, like, you start picking up on, like, body language and cues, you know, right? At least some people do. Some people have no idea what those are, and I think this might be an instance of that. But you start picking up on social cues a little bit, and after a while, my buddy's like, this guy is, like, coaching this girl he's on a date with about pool. Like, he, like, actually, like, almost like giving her lessons. And I was like, ugh. He had a better view of them. It was kind of a little bit behind me to my right, so he was kind of looking in, but I could kind of see a little bit and everything. And so we started paying even more attention to it. And it's one of those things, you know, when you're out at a restaurant or a bar, and, like, you know, sometimes you just, like, come across a situation like this, and you're kind of trying to, now you're interested and you're intrigued, and so you're trying to figure out, all right, have they been dating for a long time? Is this a first date? What's the situation here? You know, because you're thinking, okay, if they've been dating for a long time, they're just out, and he has the ability to be able to, like, kind of teach her and show her the ways with pool. But then you get thinking more to it, and you're like, what couple that's been dating for a really long time or for a while to where it's, you know, it's like a comfortable thing, right? The first date era of your relationship is over. What kind of couple like that on a Tuesday night goes to a pub, plays pool, right? Because in your first dates, you're always trying to, like, do something. You know, you always want to have, like, a little bit of a plan. You want to kind of, like, make it fun, and you want to have something to do to where it's not just you guys sitting there. You don't want to seem boring. You also want, like, a little – that's another thing is I think this guy wanted a little bit of an out. He wanted an activity to make it to where it kind of breaks up the conversation to where you don't have to be weird about it, all right? And the more we look, the more we kind of, like, we're following and just kind of, like, you know, checking in on it because they're right to our right, the more we're like, this is definitely just a really awkward first date, and this girl doesn't know what to do. Like, this guy thinks he's putting on the moves, and he's, you know, when he, like, doesn't know kind of how to flirt or how to talk to her besides, like, coaching her up and giving her lessons. And in his mind, he's like, oh yeah, this is good. Like, I'm, like, you know, I'm showing her the way, you know, like, but in her mind, she's sitting there and just is literally everything is going in one ear and out the other because she's like, oh my God, this is our first date. I don't give a fuck about pool. So, at one point we hear this guy, he's like, yeah, like the bank angles can be tricky. You got to look at the angle a little bit. You got to play it out this way. And me and my buddy are just like, bank angles? We're like walking out at this point, but we're like, dude, this girl could go her whole life without ever hearing about bank angles in pool. And you think you're chatting her up? You think she's having fun on the first date? Because what was even worse is like in between shots, he would go and like shoot and set up his shot, and she would go sit down at the table and like look at her phone or something. And and I think unfortunately this guy probably knew too, but it's one of those things that like you're both committed at this point. And so it's like you can't just up and just quit and just say like, let's get out of here, because then it's all of a sudden like, hey, you're a psycho. So you got to just ride it out, man. You got to play the game. You got to finish your beer. You got to just, swallow it. Not the beer. I'm just talking about like figuratively swallow the loss on the date. And you got to play it out. And then you go your separate ways. And then you're like, oh God, like you're like immediately doing this because you're sweating so much, and like you're just kind of pissed and frustrated, and then the girl is like walking away just like immediately in the Snapchat group or in her group chat. It's just like, oh my God, and never talking to him. Remind me to never go play pool on a first date again. That is bad news, dude. And I felt bad because I'm sitting there and it's like, this guy, he's probably likes this girl a lot, like probably feels good about getting her out. You know what I mean? Has the W, and like she accepts the date offer. Yes. What do we do? Oh shit. He panics kind of, he's like, oh man, we'll go get a drink. And then like, if it starts dying down a little bit, we can go like play pool, first date activities are fun, but it's like casual, not too crazy. Man, it was just one of those like, and the girl honestly probably didn't help him out. She probably could have been like at least faked a little bit more invested. You know what I mean? But to her credit too, like when he was giving her all these like crazy ass pool lessons that she didn't give a shit about, she was at least like kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So at least she was kind of playing along a little bit. It was just, it got to a point where it was like, I don't know. I don't do well with that kind of stuff. So I think it's funny to like talk about and break down. But eventually I was just like, man, I got to get out of here. I can't keep listening to this guy talk about launch angles and bank maneuvers and pool to this poor girl who, is like 22 years old and just wants to like, dude, she couldn't care if you use the wrong end of the pool stick. Like as long as you're being funny and like flirty and having fun, now you're a pool guy. And not like a guy with a pool. You're like billiards guy. You're billiards Bob. Billiards Brian, is what you are, because you're just like, dude, this isn't ESPN on Sunday at 2:00 during football season, when they're finding some sort of programming to put on and they throw on billiards. It was tough, man. It was a tough little first date we saw. Crazy stat from Andrew. Pacers are undefeated when Joey watches the game at bar with pool tables. There we go. And when the Boom Baby is on. So we'll see if that comes back on Thursday. Pacers have been scoring a lot of points, man. Pacers have been scoring a shit ton of points. 144 last night. Let me get to the – come on, man. There we go. I was a little skewed last night. 144 on Tuesday, 125 on Sunday, 133 against the Bucks. Last time they played the Wizards, they scored 132. Wizards scored, it was a 1-point game, 133 to 132. So, I think there's going to be a lot of points. So you have to feel good about that. But we'll see if we bring the Boom Baby back. I'll let you guys know tomorrow on game day. I'll talk with the folks at the Barstool Sportsbook and see if we want to bring that back. But it hit last night, so if we put it back on tomorrow, then you got to get in on it because you missed out. So don't miss out again. All right. But yeah, make sure subscribe to the channel. Link to buy the Barstool Indy 500 merchandise below. Great trucker mesh hat. Has the logo on it. Tank top to rock. Suns out, guns out. Greatest spectacle and boozing. All of it's available. Stored at barstoolsports.com. Search Indy. It's all there. Or links to buy on YouTube below. So when you go to subscribe, go hit that as well. I appreciate those who are watching on Twitter. What else? Download the Barstool Sportsbook app if you're in Indiana. Obviously already Pennsylvania, Michigan, Illinois. But Indiana, get in on that and get in on it fast. Let's have some fun responsibly, of course. So, yeah. Appreciate you guys waking up with me as always. Get yourself some merch. Tomorrow's Thursday. Then Friday, we're going to have drivers eating donuts. Don't forget about that. Watch the episode with Connor Daly on my channel already. And we'll have a laundry list as well. Send me your laundry list recommendations. I have a few people that tweet at me almost every day with different ones. Send them to me. I'll start to corral a list together. And then I'll pump them out on Friday. So have all that coming up later in the week. Have a great Wednesday. And I'll talk to you tomorrow live at 9.